I can't change things here. I can't have an effect. I don't care what happens to me.
So, you think that you're unique. You think that you're the one different person at your job, at your university, or even within your friend group. You're the outlier, right? While everybody else seems to follow the mainstream ideologies. Well, today, you'll see that even you are just like them. Every day, you make choices. These choices may involve picking out an outfit or perhaps certain political ideologies that you agree or disagree with. Now, we've already spoke about why free will is an illusion in a separate video, and you're free to disagree or agree with that. Today's topic is irrelevant to whether it is true or not, as it plays a factor in our choices regardless. Why do we choose one thing and not another? Rene, Girard, author of Things Hidden Since the Foundation of the World, provided a direct answer to this, which he refers to as Mimetic Desire. When asked why you want to buy that new shirt, you may explain how it aligns with your personal preferences related to color, fit, and perhaps you even appreciate something that the brand stands for. Nonetheless, in one way or another, you are making the claim that you are independently making the respective decision without external influence from other people. Girard noticed something interesting in the classical models of literature, however. The protagonist typically wanted to become another accomplished individual to some degree. In fact, you and I do precisely the same thing. Advertisers understand this aspect of our psychology very well. Hence, celebrities or other people with high influence are typically paid enormous amounts for brand deals. This imitation doesn't have to derive from major influencers, however. It could derive from your close friends, your parents, or even a small YouTuber with a couple hundred subscribers. Be free to help me out, by the way. Girard states, "Man is the creature who does not know what to desire. He turns to others in order to make up his mind." We desire what another individual desires precisely because we imitate those desires. And this does not only apply to the mainstream. While imitation is more obvious in the mainstream, it really is everywhere. Everybody wearing Yeezys, for example, is an obvious form of imitation. However, even that one rebel who specifically goes out of his way to wear a more low-key, underappreciated brand is imitating as well. This individual is imitating the act of being a contrarian, perhaps from a movie he saw or a YouTuber he watches. While he appears on the surface to be a unique outlier, even his decisions are a product of mimetic desire. You cannot escape it. It is inevitable and only becomes more of a paradox the harder you attempt to deviate from it. You are not the only contrarian, and you certainly are aware of that.
You want to know what I think is happening here?
Oh, this should be rich and overtaxed.
I think you just gotta be in the out group. Whoever's on top, whoever's in power, whoever's successful, you gotta be on the other side or you don't feel like the smartest guy in the room. All you are, my dear, is a contrarian.
Oh, please, you could not be more off base.
Oh, yeah? Let me ask, what did you think of the movie Titanic?
Horrible. One of the worst movies ever made.
How about Slumdog Millionaire?
Overrated. Just a terrible movie.
Cocktail.
Actually, not a bad film. You know, as classically structured cinema, Cocktail was one of the best films of its era.
You make me sick, Brian.
Perhaps you look up to an individual in a movie who likes to be very different, who separates himself from the in-crowd. Now, these decisions obviously extend far beyond just your fashion choices. They extend into the financial realm, for instance. The epitome of mimetic desire is when financial bubbles occur, such as the dot-com bubble or the housing bubble. And even those contrarian few who benefited from such bubbles, Michael Burry, for instance, also experienced mimetic desire. Somewhere in Michael Burry's life, he too once began learning about finance as a beginner. Through a combination of the information that he was exposed to, as well as his genetics, he was more predispositioned to make the decision to short mortgage-backed securities. Perhaps it was some books he read growing up, and he gravitated towards certain ideas due to his genes that perhaps others would not, or perhaps he had a contrarian thinking father or professor. I'm not sure, but it must have derived from somewhere at some fundamental level. Mimetic Desire explains a lot about human nature, like how we may fight over some very trivial things. We end up competing for the same jobs, the same art pieces at an auction, or even the same girlfriend. And there is no solution to this. As Girard states, imitation is inevitable. As our society becomes more divided than ever, the form of imitation that you choose to adopt, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, will have a profound impact on your life. And when controversial opinions matter more now than ever, it could even destroy or create friendships, cost your job and reputation, or even help your reputation. You guys should all be aware of cancel culture by now. Perhaps I'll make a video on that soon and why it's so destructive and reminiscent of Marxism. And so, with cancel culture, we experience the epitome of imitation. People will gravitate to the politically correct side of the spectrum because if they don't follow everyone else like sheep, whether they organically agree or not, they may lose their career and friends. Consequently, we're actually experiencing a very unique phenomenon. Since not all those people actually share those beliefs, some people fake them to fit in. But as a result of more people faking them, the influence of these cultural notions and ideologies keep growing. It's a positive feedback loop. I came across a very interesting video recently where an individual walks around a heavily woke campus, asking for people's opinions on the man Andrew Tate. And he prefaced it by stating some of Andrew Tate's actions, to which many people liked. However, when he mentioned the name Andrew Tate, their opinion instantly changed, nearly 100% of the time. But the most fascinating part about this was when he asked these people why. Why did they dislike Andrew Tate? The overwhelming majority of these people could not come up with any reason at all. And when they did provide a reason, it often included a buzzword such as misogynist, to which these people were unable to later define. Almost like they saw online that there was a negative aroma surrounding this person's name and just stuck with that. And why critically think about it when everybody else around you agrees? What I will say is that there are valid reasons to dislike Andrew Tate. As with anybody, there are also valid reasons to like Andrew Tate. When I listen to him speak on philosophies, they're often articulated in very extreme manners, perhaps for entertainment and engagement, for going viral, but at their fundamental levels, when you really break them down, a good majority of things that he says are very reasonable and agreeable in many cultures. However, a lot of people make good arguments against some of his philosophies as well. My point here is that these people haven't thought about this notion critically at all, and they still come to a definitive conclusion. It's pure imitation.
You know who Andrew Tate is?
Yeah.
Do you like him?
No.
Why?
Why are you asking me that?
No, I just want to hear your opinion on it.
Okay, why?
Yeah, so why don't you like him?
Why are you asking?
Just wondering.
Okay.
So why don't you like him? You said you don't like him and you don't have an opinion on him, so why come to the conclusion to not like him if you don't have an opinion on him?
I haven't seen a lot. I don't look at stuff about him because it doesn't interest me, but everything I've seen about him, I don't like.
So you're a follower of the media?
Yes.
Yes, you follow what the media says?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the imitation goes both ways, remember that. There are a lot of people who like Andrew Tate, and those people imitate his behaviors and philosophies. There's even a website selling replica versions of the Louis Vuitton glasses that he wears. There is no escaping this imitation, regardless of what side you take. And it is not only humans who are affected by this. I'd argue that all organisms experience mimetic desire to some degree. Leave a toy next to your dog and it won't do anything, but as soon as you start waving it around and teasing it, suddenly the dog wants to play with it. That's you. You think you're special and unique? You're not. Some dogs even chew on your sneakers because you're always wearing them. You're simply a product of what you're exposed to, as well as your genes, which put you at certain predispositions and alter the probabilistic outcomes of your decisions. And this ties in with the video that I made on free will. And when you watch a video or read a book, these environmental factors simply become a part of the equation that creates your decision. Think of the sum being the decision that comes out as the dependent variable, through a combination of your genetics as well as these environmental factors. And you can't control what you're exposed to. The whole reason you type something into the YouTube search bar, for example, is because of prior factors that led up to that decision itself, like what you were doing that day. Perhaps you got rejected by a girl, so you look up how to talk to girls. On top of that, you can't even control the search algorithm YouTube provides. Depending on whatever YouTube algorithm is suggesting to you, you might click one thing or another depending on how far you might or might not scroll. And that's why big tech has a lot of hidden power as well, but that's a video for a different day. I digress. In the meantime, feel free to watch my video on free will. I really do think you'll enjoy it. With that said though, subscribe for more thought-provoking content like this, leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps comment your notions down below. The link for Things Hidden Since the Foundation of the World by Rene Girard will be in the description below. This is the book that inspired me to make today's video, and I'd highly suggest it. But with that, have a great rest of your day, stay curious, stay skeptical.
But if you have that total conflict, you also have a way in which this conflict is automatically, cancelled and resolved by. And it is when people imitate no longer the choice of opponent, but also what they feel about everything. And they are all going to gather against the same opponent. If one really feels convinced that one of the people there is more guilty than the other one, the notion of guilt will appear in the collective interplay of these people. And as soon as this happens, it gathers speeds, and ultimately one victim must be killed or driven out or otherwise gotten rid of. And this is what I call this, not I, but everybody calls the scapegoat. The word scapegoat comes from the Bible, the Tyndale translation of the Bible in English. In most European languages, they say emissary goat, emissary victim, victim who is sent out of the community or who is killed, you see. But that's when everybody agrees that there must be one who is more of a culprit than the others. Therefore, they unite against that one.